Hi, Lovebugs. Welcome to another episode of Girls Night. I'm your host, Carly Dockstader. And if you have been listening for a while, then you heard us spill that I am going to be moving to Austin. If you're new here, I currently live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm moving to Austin. Spoiler alert. So what I'm doing here, I actually went and visited Austin for a couple weeks recently to kind of test it out, see where I wanted to live, all that jazz. And so in this episode, I'm going to be sharing some of those stories and the lessons that I learned in that trip and what it taught me. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone. Life can get a little crazy, so let's talk about it. If you're ready to dive deeper, talk about what really matters, and feel a little more empowered, then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Carly Dockstader. I'm a life coach, baker, dog mom of two, and you're always there for you, gal pal. And I'm so excited to have you join me. So grab your fuzzy socks, put on your comfy pants, and let's have girls' night. Okay, so for a little bit of background info, I have been moving to Austin, or I have been planning on moving to Austin for quite a while now. Me and my best friend Tiffany went there not last October, no, last October, just to visit, to see what it was about, just for a fun girls trip. And on that trip, I just kind of, on a whim, decided to go to Austin. And kind of the background of that too is that I had been thinking of moving and living in a different city for a while, and I was kind of trying to figure out where exactly I wanted to move to. And the reason that I wanted to move is because I've grown up in Colorado. I've lived here my whole life. I've always kind of wanted to experience something different. Even in college, I went to a school in Colorado. And so I've visited a couple places. I was thinking about the East Coast, maybe South Carolina for a little while, but something about it didn't feel quite right. And then Tiffany and I went on this trip, and something about it just felt right. And so I was planning it for a while. When I told my parents, they suggested that I should go for a couple weeks to at least test it out and see where I want to live, because their advice was that if I was going to move and make such a big move so far away, that I should really live in a place that I really wanted to live, because it would be really awful and kind of suck to live in a place that was just slightly adjacent to the place that I truly wanted to be. So it wasn't bad advice. It was really great advice. So I took them up on that offer. I went there for a couple of weeks. So that leads me to the first point that I want to bring up about this trip. And it's all about that concept of smell the leather. So what that concept is saying is that when you want a new car, for example, then you need to go really experience it to understand what that is like. So you're smelling the leather of the seats of the car, but that's a concept that you can use for pretty much anything, right? And I feel like that has a lot to do with the law of attraction and the law of assumption. What that's really allowing you to do, it's allowing your body to adjust and really feel like what it will be like to have that thing. So me going to Austin for 2 weeks was fully immersing myself in what my lifestyle would be like, what it would feel like to be in that city for 2 weeks, while doing it in a safe way, because at the end of the day, I was returning home back to Colorado. I knew that. So it just gives your nervous system a way to pre-adjust to that experience that is happening. And what the law of assumption really does for us, it really says that you should just assume that this thing has already happened to you. Act as if it has already happened. So when you are smelling the leather, it makes that a lot easier to do, because you have already experienced that thing. To be clear, I am not so dense to realize that that is not possible for everybody. Not everybody can just get up and go somewhere and rent out an Airbnb for 2 weeks. I understand that that is a thing, but the whole point here is that for the experiences that you want to call in your life, do that as much as possible. Get as close to that experience as you possibly can. So I'm going to go back to the car example. If you really want to manifest or call in a specific type of car, even if it's currently a car that is completely out of your budget, out of your price range, nothing is stopping you from dressing up as you would if you were the person that was shopping for that car, going to the dealership and taking it for a test drive. So it's just a test drive. You do not have to buy it. Just walk away, say that you are still searching, and that's the end of it, right? But if you can test drive that car, that gives you the experience of owning that car. And really, it's for anything. It can be something even smaller than that. So let's say you're trying to manifest this really cool vacation across the seas, let's say Lake Como. Obviously, you can't test drive a vacation to Lake Como, but you can take those actions leading up to what you would do for that vacation. So maybe you talk to a travel agent and start like asking them about what experiences you can have over there. Maybe you start making a Pinterest board so you have point of view pictures of what it would be like to be in Lake Como on that vacation. All of those things really count as smelling the leather, and it does really, really good for you to really be able to experience your dreams in order to call your dreams in. So that's my first point is to, if you're in this kind of situation, allow yourself to smell the leather, allow yourself to go there, allow yourself to experience it in the ways that you are able to experience it right now. And so, a second point about this that I kind of want to expand on is that obviously, when I told my parents that I was moving to Austin, my whole family still lives here. We all still live here in Colorado, but my family is extremely close with each other. So my family is like my best friends, and something that this whole experience has brought up is that obviously my parents do not want me to move. They want me to be here. They want me to be with the family for obvious reasons, and they do not want me to just be states away, right? That is a plane ride or a 14-hour car ride away. They just don't want that. And one of the biggest things, and I've said this on my podcast before, but as you grow up, you have to learn how to be okay with disappointing your parents. And sometimes that's going to be really, really hard in order to do so. Like that, I feel like is one of the harder parts of this for me is knowing that my family wants me to stay. And really, my family leaving my family is one of the hardest parts for me. But at the end of the day, for me, I know that it's okay because I know my parents are going to love me and they're going to support me no matter what, right? And I feel like this is a fear that a lot of us carry around even into adulthood. I mean, we want to make our parents proud of us, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to live your life for yourself because at the end of the day, it is your life and your parents are going to pass away at some point. And if you lived your whole life according to what your parents wanted for you, then that's going to be really, really hard because all of a sudden the thing that you lived for is going to be gone. Like you created this whole life around this image that your parents wanted for you. And maybe that does make it so you're really successful. But once they're gone, you're probably going to have this identity crisis because you no longer have those people to prove your life to, right? So if you can start now, if you can start being okay with disappointing your parents now, then that is going to be so good because I would hope, and I know that this won't be the case for everybody. There's always exceptions to everything that anybody says, but your parents at the end of the day will still love you. Even if your parents are upset with you, they will still love you because at the end of the day, our parents want what is best for us. So, in this example with me moving to another city, then obviously my parents want me to stay because they love me. They obviously want me to stay because they also want me to be safe. And when somebody that you love, especially a child, is moving away, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of risk involved with that. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of worries, and of course, they're going to want to keep things the same. And really, that's just kind of how all of our brains work. All of our brains want things to stay the same because the same things are familiar, and familiarity means safety to our subconscious. So when something really big like that is happening, especially when it's with something like a child, which the child-parent connection is a really, really deep connection. So obviously that is going to be bringing up a lot of triggers, but at the end of the day, it is just because they want me to be safe, they want me to be happy, and they want me to be honestly close to them because they love me. But at the end of the day, it is my life to live. And if this is something that I have to do, then it's something that I have to do. And while my parents are fighting tooth and nail to try to make me stay, they do also understand and support me in making this decision for myself, something that I have to do for myself. And to expand on that note too, with our parents in general, for the most part, I always like to assume that our parents are just trying to love us and they're trying to protect us from scary things. And that's something that I think this work that we do in this type of space brings up a lot of conflict around, right? Because we do a lot of work around our childhood wounds, and it can be really easy to fall into this trap of blaming your parents for everything and blaming them for all the bad things that have happened to you. But at the end of the day, they're just people. They're people with the same patterns. They're people with the same making the same mistakes. They're just people being people and they're doing the best that they can. And really, I feel like when you look back at your childhood and you see the ways that your parents maybe could have showed up better, I think what you can start to do once you keep doing the work, you can start to give them the grace of just being human, because that at the end of the day, that's what they are. They're humans, just like us, just like you and me. So just like we make mistakes, our parents made mistakes too. And most of the time when we are making mistakes or when we are messing up or when we are showing up in a way that we don't feel good about, that is just because it is a subconscious loop playing in our minds, or because some a different solution feels scary, or maybe we're just so ingrained in what's in front of us that we don't even understand that there's another solution in front of us until it's pointed out so blatantly to us over and over and over again. So on that point, it's a little bit of a tangent, but just I would say give your parents a break, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to protect you from scary things. Hi, Love Bug. I've got a juicy little gift for you. And if you've been feeling off, stuck in your head, or like your vibe just is not vibing lately, then this is for you. I created a free guide called The 3 Secrets to Creating a Magnetic Energy Shift right now. And it's exactly what you need to start shifting your energy instantly. These are the exact tools I use with my private coaching clients when they're ready to stop chasing and start attracting. We're talking powerful, we're talking practical, and yes, of course, we are talking a little bit woo, but in the best possible way. In the guide, you will learn how to clear energetic blocks, activate your most irresistible frequency, shift into receiving mode, and there's even a bonus secret on how to use your body language to instantly boost your confidence and presence. So if you're ready to feel like the version of you who turns heads, magnetizes opportunities, and walks through the world like the main character, then this is your sign. Head to the show notes and click the link to download your free copy. It is quick, it is powerful, and it is going to leave you feeling like, damn, I really am that girl. All right, let's get back into the episode. And then something else that was really fun about this trip. So, my best friend Sarah drove out with me. We got there on Sunday. She left a few days later on Wednesday, so she flew back. So, I had about a week and a half by myself there, which my adventures with Sarah out there were really, really fun. But the other week and a half was a totally different experience, right? Because then at that point, I really was truly, it really was like I was going to be there by myself. I no longer had this crutch, this familiarity to lean on. Luckily, I did bring my pets with me because I wanted it to be a true test run. But with that, I went into this trip wanting to make the most out of it as possible, right? Because it is not often that I take 2 weeks off of work. I took it off of my sales job. I took it off of all the coaching. I took it off of all the podcasting. I just took the time off to really be here in this moment, experiencing the city. And one of the things that I did is that I really let go of my expectations of what I wanted it to be. And I just really wanted it to show me what it could be, right? So, since I went into this trip and into this experience with no expectations, I think it made it that just allowed it the space to become something really, really magical. And I will die on this hill that the best way to improve your mental health or to improve a shitty situation that you are experiencing is to let go of all expectations that you have tied to it. Because expectations are really just the killer of magic, they're the killer of light, they're the killer of fun. And part of this, when I was letting go of all my expectations, so I downloaded Hinge. I haven't been on a dating app in a really long time, but I downloaded Hinge and I put on the little prompt things like a couple different times just to make sure the point was across so no one was swiping on me expecting anything else. But I put on it a couple different times that I was in town for a couple weeks. I'm looking for someone to show me around. And this is okay because I'm single. If you have somebody that you're a partner with, maybe don't do that because that's kind of crossing some boundaries. But since I'm single, it was okay for me to do that. And it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I went on so many fun dates with so many amazing people and really just going out and exploring the city. And I don't know if this is just an Austin thing, but everybody there that I met was so incredibly kind. They were so incredibly willing to help and to show me around and to give me suggestions of what to do. So many people offered to be my friend when I moved back to the city. And like I said, because I downloaded Hinge, I went on some really good dates with some really good guys. And I think the dating experience for me was really good there and really positive, partially because I let go of all expectations that I had going into these dates. And to be fair, part of this might be because I'm coming from Menvert, which, if you haven't heard the episode yet, I actually had an episode with my brother where we talk about this. But Denver has a reputation for being a really bad city to date in. But I went to this new city and I had such a great experience with all of it. And I feel like I met both good friends and like some people that I'm continuing to talk to, right? So I feel like it was a really good experience for me on that front too, but a lot of it was because I let go of those expectations. So my next point about this trip is that at the end of the day, you should trust your gut. So I alluded to this at the beginning, but I am moving to Austin just because it felt right when I went there with my best friend Tiffany. So many people have asked me like, when I've told them that I'm moving to Austin, they're like, "Oh, do you have friends there? Do you have family there? Have you been there before?" I'm like, "Well, I went there once for a weekend, and no, I don't have friends there. No, I don't have family there." And it's always the same reaction where people are like, "Oh my God, like that's very brave," or like that's crazy. Like, "Oh, you don't know anybody there. Like, why are you moving?" And my answer is always the same, is that it's just a feeling, and it doesn't have to make logical sense. And I think we have been it's been ingrained in us to make things make logical sense. But I'm a huge supporter that not everything needs to make logical sense. And I have said this over and over and over again on this podcast, but we have been taught to override our gut feelings. And I'm a firm believer that the more you learn what your gut is saying to you, the more you listen to your intuition, the faster that you are going to get everything in your life is meant to be. So I'm following the feeling, and following the feeling, in my experience, leads you to the people, places, things, experiences, and opportunities you could never expect by just doing the logical thing. Because even if you're a very logical person, there is no way that you can possibly calculate or think of every single outcome for your life and for every move that you make. And I feel like the more you try to rely on your logic, the more that you actually block those blessings from coming your way. It's kind of like that theory of like the butterfly effect, how a butterfly like flaps its wings and it makes a tsunami over in another country or whatever. I don't know if that's the actual butterfly effect, but this is kind of a trend on TikTok too, where people are saying like it's crazy about the butterfly effect because without like XYZ thing happening, like I would never be here. And it's so true. Like we cannot possibly understand the path that these different steps are going to lead. So when you have a very strong gut feeling about something, even if it makes no logical sense at the time, I think it is because that thing is meant for you, or you are meant to experience something with that thing, or it is going to lead you to a different experience, to a different person. And it's just going to be all those little pieces falling together. But what you have to do is to follow that gut feeling in order to allow the room for that to happen. And on that note of gut feelings and letting things happen, just let magic find you. I think this is one of the biggest things that I have learned over the years. And one of the biggest things that this work has granted me is to be really open to receiving really big blessings. So, magic, like, magic finds me. It finds me daily, and it finds me so often because I let it find me. And you can let it find you too if you let it. So if this is something you struggle with, just know that you don't have to struggle with letting good things happen to you anymore. There are so many resources out there to help you work through your pain, that help you rewire your brain. That rhymes. Um, that help you to change your subconscious patterns and languages and behaviors, because all of those things affect how we show up in the world, and all of those things dictate what we see, what we interpret, what we do, and what we call in. And there's really so much that you can do to help yourself get unstuck and to help yourself allow that magic to flow freely to you. And honestly, I'm just going to use this kind of as a shameless plug for me. I really don't do this on this podcast, but this is something I'm really passionate about. Is This is what I do. I use different tools like EFT and NLP to really get to the nitty-gritty of what is holding you back, and what is causing you to be stuck, and those subconscious patterns and those underlying language patterns and behaviors and actions and decisions that are holding you back and keeping you in the same loop that you want to get out of. So that's what I do. I do this work on myself on a daily basis so that I can help y'all work on this as well, because obviously as a life coach, I have to go there first. I'm kind of useless if I don't go there first. So if this is something that you're interested in, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching or working with me in other ways, then you can book a free session through my website. But that is all I have for you. So thanks, y'all. Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked what you heard, then go ahead and subscribe so you get updates with us every week. You can also follow us on Instagram at KRC Coaching. If you're interested in working one-on-one, then go ahead and visit our website, krccoaching.com, to book your first 30-minute session for free. All right, thanks so much, you guys. Love you. Bye.